Eddie pulled power tubes from his Marshall? What the heck? Howdy everybody, welcome back to Decoding EVH. This is a show where I experiment with my gear to see where Eddie's tone actually came from. This is just some experimentation and some fun basically. I'm just doing it for kicks and giggles, not trying to get the exact brown sound, but there are certain things that Eddie did with his gear which actually contributed to the overall sound of, oh well, that first album, which was totally and utterly amazing. By the way, everything is time coded, so feel free to jump back and forth between the clips so that you can compare them and have a listen to the various tracks that I have done. So today I'm going to start pulling tubes from my amp. Yeah, Eddie supposedly pulled power tubes from his amp to get that amazing brown sound on the first album, maybe on some of the other albums as well. So I'm going to experiment with this today. To be honest, I've been doing this for a while and, well, you'll see in a second. But I just wanted to give you a word of caution. Look, I build amps, I modify amps, I can fix amps as well. So if anything goes wrong with my amp, I'm able to do something about it. So if you are going to experiment, then do it at your own risk, please. Now, I have heard people talking about doing this. Jim Gorsted, who is an absolute EVH tone guru, said that he does this. He's been doing it to his amp forever and a day, and his 100-watt Marshalls have been absolutely fine doing it. I also spoke to a very good friend of mine, Stefan Huther, over at Red Stuff Amps, when I was visiting him last year at his workshop, and I said to him, is it going to break my amp if I pull a tube? And he said, nah, it'll be fine. And he actually did it in front of me, and we played one of his amps pulling a tube from one side of one of his 50-watt amps. So then when I got back, I basically did it to my custom Plexi, which I'm going to use today for the tones, just to see what happened. And you're going to see what happens in just a second. Also, another little word of caution. Now, when you're changing power tubes, make sure they are properly cooled down before you even go near them. These things get absolutely red hot when they're glowing, and you do not want to put your fingers on them right afterwards. So give it about half an hour, 45 minutes, let them completely cool down, and then take them out of your amp if you want to. I'm not encouraging you to do this, by the way. All right, let's get experimenting, because I know you guys want to hear how it sounds. So first of all, let me walk you through my signal chain. My signal chain today is my custom Frankenstrat guitar, which I've actually loaded up with a Pariah Pasadena black pickup. Wanted to put that back in here. That's the pickup that was originally in here. Love the sound of that pickup. All right, that goes into, yeah, my new toy. This is a 1970s MXR Phase 90. Now, it's not switched on. It literally is just for the buffer. And then it goes into my Fetoplex pedal, which is basically the preamp section of an Echoplex EP3. And that goes into my awesome KHE 8x4 amp switcher. And that's sending the signal to my custom Plexi amp. Everything is on 10. And I also have the EVH switch in position 1, which is the fat cap there. As we're pulling tubes from the amplifier today, I wanted to show you which tubes I have in my amp. So in position 1 in the preamp, I have this wonderful Mullard ECC83 12AX7. It's one of the yellow label tubes. I love the sound of these. They sound really good. This is from like the 1950s or 1960s. And in positions number 2 and 3, I have two GE tubes. They're from like the 1960s, I think. And in the power section, I use these Electro Harmonix 6CA7 tubes. I've always used these. Basically, I was chasing after the whole Van Halen thing, and Eddie used 6CA7 tubes in his amplifiers. So I basically wanted to use them. And this is the second set. I actually burnt the first set out. One of the tubes actually went supernova on me and stopped working. So I had to get a second set. That's how much I love this amp and how much I use this amp as well. Alrighty, let's take a listen. Alrighty, now that I've done that, what I'm going to do is play you 3 clips. First, I'm going to have both of the power tubes in my amp. Then I'm going to pull the power tube from one side of the amp, and then what I'm going to do for the third clip is replace that tube and pull the power tube from the other side of the amp. Let's see if it makes a difference. It's for experimentation. This is a kicks and giggles, right? Let's see how it sounds. First we'll hear it in a mix, and then later on in the video we can hear the tracks completely isolated as well. By the way, I just wanted to let you know that the track I'm about to play is my own composition. It is in an EVH style and it is very much like an EVH riff. You'll hear it in a second. But I wanted to address this because in my last video where I was comparing guitars and seeing if the tone of the guitar made a difference, some people had actually said, dude, you're playing Running with the Devil backwards. That was actually on purpose. I did my own composition so that my video doesn't get flagged for copyright, and I've done the same thing here. And besides, it's really fun to do, to come up with my own version of a Van Halen style song, eh? So that's what you're going to listen to now. All right, let's get going with the tracks in the mix first, and then we'll come back and have a chat about it. Yeah, let's do it. Now that was interesting, right? Which track did you prefer? Number 1, 2 or 3? 2 tubes? Or 1 tube on one side or the other tube on the other side? They all had a slightly different flavor, right? And there's a reason for that. So when I looked at the WAV files, when I pulled the tubes, you can see on the WAV file that it's either using one side of the amp or the other. So you can see actually there's kind of like half of the actual wave there. That was really interesting to see on the screen, but also here as well. So let me know in the comment section below which one you like the sound of and which one you thought sounded closest to the brown sound, because it does make a difference when you pull the tubes, right? All right, let's listen to the isolated tracks now. What I'll do is I'll flick between the 3 states of the amp. So 2 tubes, then 1 tube, and then 1 tube, so that you can have a direct comparison with the isolated tracks, what it sounds like. All right, let's get going with that. That was so interesting to do. I love doing experiments like this, especially with Van Halen stuff, because hey, you know, you get to learn where the tone comes from and how all of these little things actually affect the tone as well. You know, my full signal chain does affect the tone in some way, and obviously pulling a power tube from an amp makes it behave differently and it gives it a slightly different tone. So I would love to know your thoughts on this. Have you experimented with it before? Have you done it yourself on your own amps? What did you think of it? What did you think of the sounds that you heard today as well? And what did you think about Ed's absolute genius of doing things like this? He did it out of necessity, just to basically, you know, bring down the volume of the amp and things like that. But hey, you know, he just stumbled across some absolute genius sounds. And that brown sound, we all love it, right? Which is why, yeah, I have EVH gear. Alrighty folks, if you enjoyed this one, you know the drill. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification as well, so that you know when new episodes of Decoding EVH come out, because I don't want you guys to miss them. Also, please do give it a like and a hype as well, as it all helps. And also, please do share it with your Tone Seeker friends as well. If you'd like to support the channel, all the links to my Patreon and Gumroad page are in the video description also. I will see you really soon with another episode of Decoding EVH. In the meantime, I'm going to pick my favorite of the three and just play you out on that. I might tell you which tube it is, whether it's two tubes or one tube on one side or the other tube. Yeah, maybe. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.